Maybe.
Right, Commissioners, your meeting is live.
Well, welcome to the February 9th meeting of the Riley County Commissioners. We stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do I have any comments? Saying that we'll have any comments.
Yes, I didn't really have a whole lot going on here towards the end of the week and the weekend, but Thursday night I did attend the 77th annual meeting of the Riley County Conservation District out of Potroff Hall. After some opening welcomes and introductions, they had the regular business meeting, including passing of the minutes from 2025 and an update on both the treasurer's and annual reports. Had an election of 2 new supervisors that will be serving, and then we had dinner, which was catered by the farmhouse. Ashley Westerhold was the guest speaker. She spoke on farmer and ranching retirement. Pretty interesting discussion, actually. And then the Kansas Bankers Association Award was presented to Buzz and Rose Harris. And the Riley County Conservation District Award was presented to Brian and Stacy. And had some door prizes and stuff. All in all, just a good evening. The rest of the weekend spent kind of at home. Did watch Super Bowl last night with some friends as Seattle beat New England 29-13. And game of really wasn't all that close. Thought the teams were kind of balanced, but anywho, congratulations to the Seahawks. I guess they get their second Super Bowl win. So, and with that, that's all I've got this morning.
Thursday afternoon, pre-law board meeting, and Director Keating's out, so we met with Deputy Director Keating and discussed what was on the agenda, added a few things we wanted to cover. Went over the budget process, finance manager, had some changes we'd like to see this year. Maybe more detail on personnel breakdown. Government our pages. This is what we need showing. Oh, we see 1 month, so the whole term. And so I said, she said, oh yeah, but things can't break it up in different divisions and stuff. So Thursday evening, I had a long call from the residents of Sweet Creek area. He had a lot of questions about maintenance and snow removal on county and township roads, and some complaints about our pay structure. John Elman and Alvin to get the correct facts and getting all of them back to that. It's fun. Yeah. And then Saturday night we went over 3 dog night at the Snipeville Theater at Salina. Oh, I enjoyed the show, but evidently people were a lot smaller. They both that 90 years ago. There wasn't any room. My knees were banging against the person in front of me. The seats are real close together. But the show was funny. Except then I looked, Alan looked at the league guy who's been in the league all along, Stadium 3. Yeah.
Old enough to call him $6 neck now.
Yeah. That's okay.
That's all. Okay. Well, Thursday afternoon, I took pretty long with the receiving headquarters. We had a lot of this, especially the kids, we get discussed it. We have a couple of lot more meetings and the issue to then there will be discussion about calls outside of Brown County. In time where the issues meeting are submitted. We also have an issue executive session. We are going to summarize some of this evening.
Oh, yeah.
This so many things. Then Friday, I was my scheduled appointment with the neurosurgeon. I'm over there to change the appointment. I had to reschedule. The next one. Friday evening, I went to the Raleigh Funeral visitation. Saturday, I went to the funeral of Keith's. Yeah, it's wild cards.
And number.
No one here. A week ago, Saturday.
I mean, I did not.
We lost Paul Foltz too,
I knew that.
last month.
I did, no, that's in Oscar. He always did, we always talked.
They called him the mayor of Keats.
He always thought, got my attention, we always thought. I had not heard, sorry.
Yeah, they played some of his songs, maybe sang to his kids. He had a great voice.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
Doesn't have really be bad. I'm not even sure. I think I'm even.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Wow.
Anyway, let's see, after the funeral, I did do some housework, which I think he did a good job. Sunday, I went to the friend's home to watch the Super Bowl. It was a fun time, especially the halftime show. I kind of left a little bit after that. So that's all I have.
No business items today, and I should have said something. Any changes to the minutes?
I didn't have anything.
I didn't either. Go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes as written from the February 5th meeting of the Raleigh County Commission.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of February 5th as presented. All in favor?
Then again, as the commissioners. Any items for next week's press conference?
Won't have it. Won't be here.
True. I forgot. Thank you for that one. Yeah.
Or you might be, I'm not going to be.
Then next Monday, next at 9 o'clock. Tell them that. That's good news for the day.
Thank you, President.
Yeah.
But change it.
Oh,
Yes, got it.
So we do have a meeting with Keats.
Yes, we do.
No, it's not there.
You know, they got that. You're saying he's got, I assume that wood heater outside. Said he went out, put it in wood and he come back and.
Yes.
Oh, what is that?
80. So. Which I would like. Said.
So, but
Can't believe that. Pretty bad. His daughter moved to the church, always back then. There's also not helping time. The church also, but then she was soon, she next. Wasn't any laws. Bottom line for parking units, the office, the parents, he always stop in and using tag and taxes, he always stop in.
their families and realize something. Two children with his first wife, the veterans, 67. So, you know, so that was a big group family, huge family, the whole church was well the same.
Here, I didn't know how you people hit them.
Well, there we before we had, there were lines all the way around to the.
And on this camera?
Seven.
Patient, right?
Visitation was Friday, it was under Friday visitation.
Two old families. We 92 rounds or.
Sounds like it, once again, all happens in threes.
I heard of Paul.
No, right, well, it was interesting at the fire meeting. You know, just a couple of weeks ago, they talked about there's only two guys left from the original fire, him and what's his name? Russell. Dave
Oh,
Russell,
okay.
you know. Dave Russell's there, and Ralph was there, and you know, his son was, but. Yeah. But then, like I say, it just within the week, I said,
Yeah, he quit. Aaron's it's not the actual all the time. We can stop. You can do. Yeah. Friends from going. Holding that down. Both together. She's only 15 months old. She his wife. But then too. Yeah. Empty.
It's.
and okay.
Yeah, I was gonna introduce myself, Rex Vows, I think my wife and yours serve on the historical society.
Oh, yeah. She's
So
on
then them,
no.
I met you at Steve Smothers. Together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then here it says only. To the.
Oh, this parking lot's fine for the moment. Yeah, you're okay. Yeah.
To that parking, I'm like, county, hell, it said no.
Yeah. Yeah, it does say employees over there. That could be confusing.
Bill was my first county commission. On the new.
Have a good deal.
So they said we're gonna talk about last year's budget, how we made some budget. That's all I gave. See if I can run it all right. I was at the couple of the city.
Oh, yeah, I did that in my word.
Retreat meetings.
Mm.
And what I learned there was, there are the property taxes really small compared to the county.
No.
Well, I mean, they said,
Yeah.
By percentage.
yeah, by percentage, they're only 11.
Yeah,
Yes.
So what's the, what's
But the.
No, their budget.
yeah.
No, of the property taxes, we're 25%, 35, 40%.
They're able to do a lot more sales tax.
Like being the one.
Yeah. And we don't do so much with sales tax.
They have one super big.
Yeah, they make us a municipal revenue.
Water, super big.
Oh.
Those.
Yeah,
Every time looking at this.
Yeah, pay for a lot of stuff through that too.
Yeah. Drive so much.
Yeah, the property tax as a percentage of the budget isn't as much as ours, but
Actually.
their percentage of the property tax is more than things.
That's so nice. I figured that was the place to get, that's one of the only places to bring in.
majority of their property tax goes to RCPD. It's about 40% of that.
I gotta. Put that jar. I should clean it for you.
Holy.
But first thing he's going on.
And it's what's up.
I saw your first thing this morning.
Oh, yeah, walking across the street. Oh, that was like,
Huge part.
I just figured out, I always wasn't gonna get.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, the way everybody's.
Because I was like, it's less not names. So, yeah, we go to the little front section, last word. Is that your?
It's also. Train. Oh, he's been doing, he's been great, so we're trying.
Lots of groups. Yeah.
But he's on the tag of one sheet, he had only has a little. I think it's got a great.
That's been
Yeah, it's just.
oh,
Yeah. So it's mine also takes one time.
We should do that.
Oh, it's.
Well, the thing is, you know, it's very, it's, you know, try to.
Yeah, they have.
You know,
On the sheet. I think it's coming back. That's where I went.
You read that, the steam train and so Colorado.
so they get shoveled. So they get shoveled. It was kind of a joke, okay, shovel, it's time for your, and you know.
That's the image of your.
All right.
I don't know.
so yeah, and it's that.
Oh, I know. You can see the very front of that train when it goes around there.
You wrap that in a big mass of values. We gotta have to very early.
Yeah.
Sounds
It's just not, you know, you're rid of those open your prices, your bushel down.
Because they're redoing our offices, they were just like, new carpeting, paint.
You see me put it around, I was just looking for. What is the difference?
Acoustics are a little different, yeah.
Sorry, I feel like it must be that.
Yes. Oh, the end of this.
But hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping.
Hopefully this month, to get back, you know. It's, you know, well, in time, we enjoy that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was for it. Of course, she was.
And elections is now. And you just bring all your notes.
So you said, well, I can break it. Yes, I am.
We were kind of worried about ours falling out.
Yeah.
They're afraid to breathe on it, they might just fall right out.
The way you can sit in front of the window, feel the breeze.
That's right. Oh, right, was gonna be like,
Yeah, we just go back and because some people want to see certain things. So once we set out an agenda, we just keep it at that time.
I'm trying to purchase them, I would come, no, let's get it in general. I was told they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They usually have a few things.
Sometimes we have lots.
This time of the year, it's a little, it slows down just a little bit right before we start on the budget. Yeah, gives us a little break.
So the day, this is self-standard, but.
He just knows it's just a month. Months, but then we get not in January.
No, I did not say that.
No, okay, that's
Yeah.
You know, they say that, so.
I was living over there. This is. She's a son of French, right, Neil Summers, and that, all really. I never really was in town. It's over.
Yeah.
Mike, we might go up with a new location.
And that's about that, too, when you're doing this.
I do, I work out at Florence Manufacturing. We do industrial, commercial mailbox systems. Yeah. It's over by the airport, but it's going to, I've been out there for about 11 years. Yeah.
But I don't.
Remember their name.
Then you forget.
Get it in the slot. Get it, do those mailbox.
Makes sense.
What do you do there?
Well, I used to work in our electronic parcel systems, but it closed down at the end of the year. So I'm kind of transitioning at the moment. I'm not sure specifically where I'm going to end up. I just kind of slid into that, I guess. It's been a natural fit for about 8 years, but we have a servicing business that went along with it, and it got sold off in bits and pieces, and then decided to quit making those. So
I'm glad you're still in business.
yeah, we're doing well. Doing well.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're also. Nice to meet everybody.
We do. Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, we.
Keep down.
So
keep telling yourself that.
Where,
What's that? Oh, yeah, I was not ready for any discussion. I don't think
I'll let her brush it out.
I'm excited. I think somebody told me. So.
Yeah, I think, sure.
Oh, Tom Hawk.
Yeah, Tom Hawk.
Yeah, he's-
Yeah.
Ooh, man, I can stop yawning.
What was that wrong?
Can't stop yawning.
Carry it over from.
Maybe, I don't know. I didn't
Oh,
feel that much.
cover it where it's. And then we'll start down. Start off.
See the last week. I thought that it was before the wall, he said, yeah, we're on. Hey. There's another. It's like, he said, something. Yeah, there was. When, yes, one of the others also. That's the. Yeah.
Oh, we found it. And they're pretty much. They're much. Yes.
There's a.
Maybe I know. That's how. Was that right?
I was down there Friday before, and so it was about the same.
Very, yeah. State.
Nice, funny. Not funny for you.
Yeah. Nice. And take the thing. Definitely. But it will help. Yeah, like. No, that like is So, again, 1 quarter. Computer. She came okay, they just come forward on this week. You know, and I did, we're into more, say. Should be. Well, the man is also.
That'll make it easy. The one that they call
Yeah, so.
That's all. That's all. You're not, you're not more.
Maybe so.
So. Yeah, no. I mean, it's actually. Yeah. So. Yeah. That's no. That's a student, it's like. You typically realize the big kid, like, depending on how it's. The advice then. Somehow. Yeah, this is the time when you can get away with something. Yeah.
But they were others.
Okay, so today, that's the point way. So I said, but a while later, it was up, we could help you on the back. So the first one, it was on the inside of the wall there, with it's a thing G in there. So I was gonna put it the back of so it's in the boxes. And then kind of the code or something covering this other thing, it's on the H, and it went unnoticed. So now why that's how so one day the guy takes it, oh, any time. That's the feeling of like, yeah, because. That's just. I can't see it, but it's so right in, people are kind of up it. But I haven't been able to find. Same you guys.
Some guys on the year, it works, it makes them air so dry.
It's the ever. He's died. Then a supervisor now said.
Yeah.
And it was torn.
Yeah.
It was that guy. If I'm around, stay out, but it was so. Yeah, you know. Yeah, really. I've seen a lot of time.
Oh, right.
So, I think it's just. I'm so used to him. And if I search the person currently search. Yeah, but you know.
Yeah.
Machine codes.
At least not that, it's Monday to Monday. What kinds of fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's something going on.
Ready, ma'am? Morning, Commissioners. Rich Varga, Raleigh County Clerk. First report is the 2026 year-to-date wages and overtime compared to budget. Yes, once again, we're starting over a new year. The numbers are a lot smaller at the beginning, so it's pretty easy to go through these reports, but don't blink because as you know, it'll go fast. 8.33% of year in the upper right-hand corner. That's what we use as our barometer to see respectively where departments are, wage and overtime and budgets overall. You can see early in the year, no big issues or anything pops up right at this point in time. You have any questions of that first report? Next report, just a little bit more detailed breakout, regular salaries, seasonal and overtime per respective departments. Any questions on any of those? Next report, 2026 year-to-date budget activity, still comparing to that 8.3. If any were well, there are a couple that are above that. The 8.3, I see a couple. They're not highlighted in blue. Planning and yeah, it's at 10.47. So, what's that? Yep, and then noxious weed as well. Those are cyclical early in the year. Brittany keeps an eye on those, and of course, anything on this first page, commissioners, all in general, and so it would have to be collectively before it would be a budget concern, and that's why it's not a budget concern budgetarily. Knock on wood, it would not be good if general was over budget. So. Any questions on this first page, commissioners? Next page, you can see that box section there. Of course, Brittany's gone over why the state made us change that. It used to be nice, simple, and easy to read with just a couple funds there. And now they've got it, Department of Corrections broken out in many, many divisions now. Everything's looking good earlier in the year. Any questions on that page? Next page, these are all enterprise funds. I'd like to point that out, Commissioner, because there are no ad valorem tax dollars used in any of these funds. It's all fees or taxes or specials to individuals that own property or live in those districts. So minimal expenditures there at this point. This next report's 2025 to 2026 comparison, just a snapshot comparatively to the previous year on where the respective budgets sit. Any questions on any of those? A little more detailed breakout of county general personnel. Of course, I'd like to point out there's no personnel that are paid directly out of this on a weekly basis. This is just for separation of service pay. Miscellaneous stabilization, budget stabilization is 4.25 commissioners, as you're aware, and none of those monies have been expended. Next reports, all deal with RCPD 2026 year to budget activity for expenses paid by Riley County. I do like to point out on this, commissioners, as a reminder to the taxpayers, of course, because you've heard me say it every month. But all these expenditures, other than, of course, budget appropriations, the city does make a budget appropriation as well, but all of the other expenditures are solely funded by Riley County. Anything inmate medically related and all facilities costs are all funded just through Riley County's budget. And these expenditures are going up astronomically the last couple of years. I like this next report a little bit better. Commissioner, gives you a good snapshot comparatively to previous years, 22 through 26. Look at 25 numbers, not good, especially with physician, anything inmate medically. Housing's going up, commissioners. You see the inmate housing at 57,000 last year. We will have that again this year as well. That's for offsite inmate housing. That's something previous years we haven't budgeted for. Building maintenance went up last year as well. It still wasn't horrible for a facility of that size, but the inmate medical and physician fees are very high. You know, just take that $28,000 almost, extrapolated out by 12 months, and that already puts us at just under 350,000 projected for next year. So we'll see where it goes. Both Brittany and I have discussed, and we do anticipate needing to do a budget amendment for RCPD, of course, next year, because those expenditures, commissioners, inmate medical, it's statutorily, we have to pay those whether budgeted for or not. And ADP has, I did hear a good report, ADP went down a little bit, it sounded like, so that directly impacts those. So if that trend would hold steady or at least not continue to go up, that will help us. Any questions on those? Something, of course, we'll keep close eye on. Brittany sent an email regarding why there are no numbers in this. We had not received those at the time, and she reached out, made extra effort to try and get those and prior to this report, and was not able to. Any questions on any of those, any of that information, commissioners? You guys take more time, look through them, have any questions or concerns, let us know, and we'll be sure and get you the answers. Thank you.
Nine 15. You go right there. Hey, Russell.
Easy.
Yes.
And also. Immediately like 20 minutes ago. That's in flex right there. Yes. And that's expected. So that, so you realize that and that you take that advice instead of confusing more.
That'd be a good approach.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Oh, you guys know something. Yeah, so this is the way you should look at. Okay. I have to take my favorite dogs.
Get back.
I do. They're especially. Have you heard of these? I didn't think you were that to keep it. But you slowly showing yourself.
Another football, but I'm real curious in case of baseball could do. Yeah.
The pick seventh in the.
Sounds like it could be a pretty salty team.
Got a lot of seniors.
Well, that in basketball games.
I didn't watch it.
You just knew.
I agree.
Find a way to all or be, we just knew that was the happen.
I hated to see it happen, but I agree.
Some of some stuff. Well, now in was St. Johnson's or something. It's a good player. It's when I was with it, you know,
You what?
he's the, his name is Johnson. Really close to it. I mean, he's some evidence that said that's what happens at the end of the heat. And Marcus Johnson made an appearance for some reason. And, oh, I think it's 3-5
I said it was the previous thought he had, but he just hadn't done here.
and but it was good to see him surf for that, even if he didn't play much.
Yeah.
He had also seen the inside.
I didn't see it, I just kept listening on the radio, and I was just like, there's such a bad.
That's what I was. Ian, Bill Stevens. Got a short time. And again, we can make some city looks. It's the place. That junior high son, it's gonna been, he stayed with her. No.
Even if the coaches didn't say anything, about it, players didn't go, they should know it.
Be an interesting off season.
Else could be interesting. That,
They're probably gonna start all over again.
yeah, but who's gonna be loose?
He needs to be, he's around.
Yeah. That's what they're saying about all this NIL stuff is, it's really prolonging basketball coaches tenure across the nation, because now that everyone's giving all the money to football, there's less money for this other stuff. I knew that would happen, and you're gonna see that happen to facilities too. In other words.
Yeah, it's both of them. But no ways, but those places,
Well, that's why most of your blue blood basketball schools don't have much of a football. Yeah, Dukes, Kentuckies, KUs.
Okay. Don't say that.
He wants down his blood and puts in videos. But if we kind of get into that, if he has a buyout, if he wants to speak, he has to pay. If that drops, that name. What we had to pay off of the loss. Shapes. Yeah. We know. Sometimes. Maybe stop again.
No, I like, but I think he's gonna find out.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah, you want to talk about good things.
We look for this.
Got the number one team in the country in track. Yeah, number one.
That's so. It's the name for, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, it's time for the
Morning, Commissioners. Russell Stuckey, Emergency Management. Have the hazard mitigation plan resolution for you. This is something we do every 5 years. I can go into some details. I don't know if you have any questions. You know, we do it regionally. The state helps write it and get it approved. There's multiple counties in our region. It's used for, and one of the biggest reasons to have it in place is to make us eligible for grant funds when a disaster comes along. You know, it can be used for flood mitigation projects or earthquake mitigation projects, wind and wildfire mitigation, infrastructure resilience, and property acquisition relocation. So for example, if you got an area that floods all the time, you can apply for grant funds potentially and get money to buy out the houses or the businesses that are in that flood prone area and then turn it into green space, things like that. So. Questions on it or something pretty standard we do every 5 years.
Go ahead and make a motion to approve adoption of the Region 1 hazard mitigation.
I'll second.
It's a new second to adopt the Kansas Homeland Security Region 1 hazard mitigation.
Sure, he's fine. Thanks, Russell. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to bear.
Yeah.
You said they do?
There's. And they wait flat, May 1st in the town for Rico. Somebody had a. Website, this is nothing about it, and just get his like. The sister goes to me, so I remember 2000. Now. Sort of watches. I don't know. I think it's he has to hire on the staff. He said, listen, negotiate 30% in PS5. But it him just hired this call. That's that. That's all they know. He knows that it's just
I said.
Yeah, it's for $5. Somebody said first class. Okay. There's something. He's yours. He will be.
Says fine, I'll fix it.
He'd been a few dogs.
Yeah, I understand.
And he's a few years, he's really good, and then he kind of taken it off.
Yes.
He was supposed to be more of an associate,
Yeah.
kind of head coach and kind of in charge of the offense. Looked good to start.
But the years pushing the game. Well, the back of my thoughts last 2 months.
We put one in office. So what did you do for the first?
Things in this game, you can't.
forever. The research never done to see this.
Yeah.
And David, it's conscious there. But they have been games, they come down, they close. This same thing happens. All I'm saying, I think on their paper. You also are. It's like I'm not. He's becoming. Even more. He did better. Said, yeah. But that's what it also, and somebody. Some drivers that see that speak said. See them imply it.
Yeah.
And something that's very personally. It's huge. Saying, well, you know.
Well, each year, I mean, it's like, yeah,
Yes.
1 year where it was up and 1 year it was down, and it's just been a total.
But they know it's not Sean. Just, oh, you're for sure. I'm actually saying. It's not good.
Wasn't 6 over keeping his piece back then.
I think it's a little bit of both.
It's just the same.
That's just like you're something.
Gotta assume it's somewhat toxic at this point in time.
Yeah.
I just don't see a lot of life and energy.
I'm sure he's a great guy.
Yeah.
No, it's just too bad.
Time is up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I say, yeah, these things I've got other people see.
He just wasn't that stuff.
He reclined to focus on their memory. Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
His basketball coach from the 60s.
Pardon? No, 60s. Yeah, text one.
Text winner.
Jonathan Sims was for 3 years. Last year, 3 years in the 60s. Sims. Jim Carter was for the 70s. Oh my gosh.
Kruger was after.
Giving all this money to the team, purposes of finance, you know, like Ireland is.
Oh, but they're just.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He was one who was, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, well, hey, you coach, Johnson.
Yeah.
The word on the street is gonna happen.
What I'm told, we're very reliable, just that they have what the same with others. I'm taking it, so I'm holding by.
Thanks for coming through for us, John.
Yeah, right.
I can write the check. What else from here? It's forever, and I can write the checks anywhere.
Really help me out.
Yeah. I'll put in 5 a couple of different times.
That was before my time, I don't know.
That was,
No, that was after.
that was after, oh, it was right after that.
It was the guy that. It's really. Been for a while, was it?
Yeah, they're speaking this way.
Yeah, it was Let's be honest, there ain't much really good players. You know, go to probation.
They're pretty good job. It's kind of updated the facilities at that point too.
Trying to dig in.
Yes.
They've got a couple for it. Yes. She does. That's the issue. That's really slow. That's some short.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I'm not sure. It's possible that's the shooting.
It's fast.
No, it just happened.
Well, I know, somebody else is gonna get my stuff. Oh, she's getting that. So, I mean, it's like, wait, it's something. Oh, yeah.
Here, you make it long.
I was at the joining afterwards, it's probably the best. So we've got to. Get in the hospital thing. Should have the. Good weekend.
That would be nice. I mean, it's great. Oh, yeah.
The weaver. Before you get sent.
He had some pretty bad years.
Years started going through college and air parish, understand?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And in 6 years, Weaver was 8 wins, 60 losses.
I remember we were over in Wamego for Oktoberfest or something. We were playing Louisiana State. We were up 28-3 or something at halftime. Oh, we were all excited because we figured we're finally going to get a win. Yeah, we lost 31-28. That's when you kind of knew, yeah, it's time to make a change. You know, oh, it would have been 87 or 88.
Yeah. Six against the whole college. Yeah, you go just walking in halftime, you see.
Right. Yeah. Well. 89 when it's over that side of things. These people work with the tickets. I'm used to have deal with these that in the rest as we had a real good game and so the next team has this emotions, right? Take a play machine. So the way the game. We were almost lost 3. We were the line because it was just one thing. West side. We were in front and the way that you hear the game. But I'm saying, minus 11 number. It was already getting this for sport. And I that's what I was taking this game. That's it. But it's
I got still that.
one thing, yeah, see, there's like 3, you know, going things to get in.
Oh, goodness.
See,
Maybe they might be, it's a meter.
Oh, I think, yeah. Because I could do that. Yeah.
Good morning, Commissioners. Anna Burson with the Riley County Appraiser's Office. Riley County property valuations have been updated for 2026 and change of value notices are scheduled to be mailed February 25th. We have completed the required studies and analysis for the 26 property valuations. CVNs will show the property's value change over the prior year. Changes may be due to shifts in the local real estate market, updates made to the individual properties such as additions, removals, renovations, or classification changes. In 2025, the average sale price of a valid home sale in Riley County was $301,998 compared to $275,000 in 2024 and $265,000 in 2023. The median home price in 2025 is $270,000, up from $250,000 in 2024 and $238,000 in 2023. The median sale price is often a better measure of market trends. It's more reliable reference point because it's less affected by those unusually high or unusually low sale prices. Based on the current market data, residential property values show an overall average increase of 3 to 10%. Again, that's 3 to 10%. Commercial property values are trending upward 2 to 6% on average. Individual property values may vary and may not follow the general trends due to property-specific changes, data corrections, or market activity within a particular area. As in previous years, the CVN mailing will include a form for property owners who wish to appeal their value. To meet the Kansas statutory requirements, appeal forms must be fully completed, signed, and returned to the appraiser's office within 30 days of the mailing date. Appeal request forms may be emailed, dropped off, or mailed with a postmark no later than March 26th. Appeal forms can be emailed to valuationappeal@rileycountyks.gov or delivered to the appraiser's office on the 3rd floor of the courthouse at 110 Courthouse Plaza. An appeal phone line has been set up at 785-537-6316, and it's available for appeal-related questions or requests for information. Appeals cannot be filed by phone. Once a completed and signed form is received, staff will contact the property owner or the representative to schedule an appeal meeting. Higher property value does not automatically mean higher taxes. I said it and I'm saying it again. Our role is to determine that fair market value based on the sales. We do not set tax rates. Property tax bills reflect a property owner's share of the budgets approved by commissions, schools, cities, and other taxing authorities. The mill levy represents the amount needed to fund those budgets. Property valuation simply determines how that cost is shared. Property data for parcels in Riley County can be viewed online through the parcel search, through our new parcel search with Beacon Schneider. You can access that straight from our website. With updated values displaying by noon on February 27th. So notices are mailed on the 25th, but by noon, we will have all of that information updated on the website as well. Property record cards, the CVNs, and comparable sales reports will be accessible through this website. And again, you can contact the Riley County Appraiser's Office for other general questions at 785-537-6310, or you can contact the appeal line if it's an appeal-specific question at 785-537-6316. Thank you.
Good morning, John Ellerman, Public Works. I just want to remind everybody that we have a culvert replacement project on North 52nd Street scheduled to begin on Wednesday, February 11th. Project is located approximately 0.5 of a mile west of West 59th Avenue. North 52nd Street will be closed to through traffic from West 50th Avenue west to Kitten Creek Road during the project. Project is expected to be completed that day, February 11th. weather permitting. We apologize for any inconvenience caused by the project. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Shiloh Hager, Riley County Treasurer. You might have noticed I changed up my report a little bit for this new year, new look. It's only taken me a few years to figure out what I'm doing. So I'm here today to talk about the January revenue reports. Here, this slide will show what our total fund balances are, cash wise. We have total assets of 78,671,333.73. This is how it's broken out between, the various, banks that we have and our investments. And then the next slide will show then the actual funds that make up those assets. Our general fund balance for the month of January was $14,001,329.66. And as you can see here, our total fund balance is at 78 million. Our January investment income was $298,457.50. This represents 10.66% of the budgeted revenues of 2.8 million. Our active checking account had an interest rate of 3.66%, and we did lock in a CD for the month of January, also at that 3.66%. ARPA interest year to date for 2026 is $9,546.91. You will start seeing that number decrease. The balance in the ARPA fund as of the end of January was at $2,144,000. The general fund revenues for the month of January, we did make our first tax distribution. So you can see here how much of what was budgeted we've collected on those amounts. Our ad valorem taxes, you can see here that we collected just over 54%. Which is just over half, which is what we expect to see. Our actual revenue for the month came in right at budget. We had budgeted 16,070,000, came in just over at 16,198,000. And you can see it here, we have collected 42.17% of our total budgeted revenues for the year. This slide just shows a breakdown. It's the same information since we're in the month of January. Our year to date is the same. But any questions on any of that? Okay. This is the half-cent sales tax that the county gets to retain. For the month of January, we received $194,187.47. This represents November sales. You can see here for comparing it to last year, it's down by just over 6%. But for what we've budgeted, we came in at almost 6% over budget. And the road and bridge sales tax, the county got to retain $233,044.78. You can see here also that is lower than this time last year. I will I will just make you aware that, we had some miscommunication this year and what we were budgeting for, the road and bridge sales tax. And so it stayed at the 2 million instead of going up. So, once again, it's going to look very inflated, but, just wanted you to be aware of that. So as you can see here, it's almost 40% over what was budgeted if we just use this $2 million. Any questions about sales tax? Okay. This just shows the total sales tax that the county brought in for January. It is slightly down 1.33% compared to January of 2025. And it is also down just slightly compared to last month's sales tax numbers. This shows that of the 814,000 that of sales tax, this shows you the breakdown of how those sales tax came in. Always the retail trade is our biggest amount of sales tax that comes in. And when we break down retail trade, this is how that breaks out. Most of it comes in as under department stores. Second is our autos. Any questions on that? Okay. So here's kind of a new section that I've added. Just so you know what the treasurer's office is up to. So we've processed for the month of January, we processed over 1,500 renewals, which is an 18% increase over January of 2025. Just thought it would be interested to note that 14% of those renewals were done online. January is mostly trailers, so they can't be done online. So a lot of those are the A's that are already starting to come in, and then some delinquent renewals that were done online. So we'll definitely see that number go up as we get further into the year. We processed 1,004 titles, which is a little bit lower than this time last year. We have noticed that some of our dealers that we were doing a lot of their dealer titles have started either doing them in-house or they're not actually converting them to dealer titles because dealers can just sign their titles over directly. So we have seen a decrease in the number of titles that we have been processing lately. We did process 155 commercial supplements, which is a 27% increase from how many we processed last year. And of those supplements, we've processed over almost 1,900 commercial actual vehicles, which is a 30% increase from last year. On the tax side, I ran the abstract as of the end of January. We've collected 56.36% of the total 2025 tax roll. And in January, I dispersed $55,265,803 to the various taxing entities in the county. Just some other miscellaneous information that's going on. Just February renewals are due by Friday, February 27th. That includes heavy trucks and trailers, your commercial and IRP fleets, and any businesses or last names that begin with the letter A. Delinquent notices were mailed out on Friday, February 6th. So those should be hitting mailboxes in the next couple of days. And this includes personal property, intangibles, trucks, heavy trucks, watercrafts that were not paid by December 20th. They become due in full. We also go ahead, even though we're not required to, we go ahead and send out delinquent notices for first half real estate, just so that people that may have missed that, they don't have to wait until June to get that delinquent notice. Just a reminder, May will be here before we know it. The way the weather is today, it's going to feel like May today. So second half taxes are due by Monday, May 11th. They must be postmarked. I just wanted to let you know, we've had over 200 customers sign up for the e-notices. So I'll continue to let people know about that. So it's a way to help the county save money on postage, and you'll get your notice by email. I wanted to talk about Senate Bill 404. That is the treasurer's motor vehicle fee bill. We had a hearing last Thursday in Senate Transportation. We had 4 county treasurers testify and 2 county commissioners, one from Sedgwick County and one from it's the Big Five caucus. It's Johnson, Wyandotte, Leavenworth, Douglas, and Shawnee. They've kind of come together. And so they had a representative from, I believe he was from Douglas County, who also testified. It went very well. It was very well received. And so what we're hearing is that I think they're going to work the bill this week, we think. We are hearing some other things that might be happening with motor vehicle, some talk at the legislature about revamping the whole system. So we'll just have to keep our ears open to hear what might be coming about that. So as always, I will keep you posted as I hear, but fingers crossed, this may be our year, at least temporarily, is what we're hearing. I will be attending the Kansas County Treasurers Association meeting starting, I'll be leaving tomorrow and I'll be there until Friday. One other, and I didn't put it on here just because it kind of happened late. Senate Bill 378 is another bill that got a hearing last week, and that is also has to do with motor vehicle property tax, and it's a one-time property tax credit of up to $250. And then that money would then come back to the county. And so I will be watching that one very closely too, because we didn't weigh in when they had the hearing on the Senate side because we really didn't understand the mechanics of it. But now that I've heard the mechanics, if it does make it to the House side, we'll definitely weigh in because the treasurers have a lot of questions about how it'll work. There's a lot of legislation going on right now that I know I saw about, one-time motor vehicle registrations. That hasn't gotten a hearing yet. There's just a lot of moving parts right now, and I'm doing my best to try to stay on top of it. Other than that, do you have any other questions for me or? Okay, well, we will see you next month. Yep.
So.
You're welcome.
Let's go to the
What size you to the stickers here?
Things, defending subsidies, so I think you're from my.
Yeah, might be.
Which one? Yes.
Well, and it is,
Yeah, you see a little top. And you want to be an angle to. No, you actually see. Well, what's he does? You'll just
Say, when I said that, she. That's the job. Very.
really test first. Well, all right, have a good week.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jacob Hanson, Riley County Councilor here for administrative session and a staff update. First, I'll start with just the administrative session, which I'd just like to spend a little bit of time, of course, regarding the legislative session and echoing some of the sentiment from Shiloh earlier. I'll be honest, there are quite a few bills that, of course, get introduced, but not always are treated with the same level of effort once they're introduced. So I'm trying to expend most of my energy on those that seem to have perhaps more practicality to them. And I'm watching them closely as far as those that would be problematic. Just a handful of legislation that's come through more recently. I'll start with Senate Bill 254 that's prohibiting illegal aliens from state and local public benefits. That was all passed, should be sent to the governor now. So that one is likely to become law. I'll be working closely with Diane on this. I'm assuming that will probably be vetoed by the governor and then, of course, overridden, as my assumption. But I'll work with Diane. We'll keep an eye on what the requirements are. As far as verifying the requirement for verifying through the federal system, the language within the statute's a little ambiguous, and so we're trying to see what best we can do to, of course, comply and reduce legal risks as much as possible. But any questions as far as that bill goes? Okay. All right. Moving over, we also have Senate Bill 329. There's no hearing set for this, but I've talked with Anna, of course. This is requiring appraisers to submit a single property appraisal report. Anna certainly has some opinions on this particular legislation, and overall, it's shifted. From my opinion, it seems like it shifts costs from the individual property owner to the county, which then, of course, then we're just paying for via taxes to get a single fee appraisal report. We'll be watching that one. Again, no hearings are set for this particular bill. We'll see if it really goes anywhere. If it does, I'll come back with a little bit more information and we could decide if that's something we want to submit testimony on or even show up and appear in person for the hearing. The next bill I have written down is Senate Bill 335, which is requiring public construction contracts to include a mutual waiver of consequential damages. This bill, I have a particularly interesting connection with, as the impetus of its creation was actually due to myself in the Department of Administration last year, 2 years ago now. And essentially, it's asking that they, in public construction contracts, there's a mutual waiver of consequential damages. Consequential damages are damages that really you don't anticipate on having just by the construction itself. It's things that happen later down the road as a result of whatever dispute happens or whatever kind of breach happens during the public construction process. as the very nature of consequential damages go, it's hard to determine what exactly that would be. And that's a lot of what the proponents for this bill argue why it's necessary. However, my opinion on this, of course, is that this really is a local control issue as far as we should be allowed to negotiate for damages that are, well, that have been determined necessary. The courts in their history have allowed for consequential damages for a very important reason, because parties get damaged. And in this case, we're talking about who's fitting the bill. If we waive consequential damages, this could be the taxpayer. We're here to protect the citizens and not necessarily the public company, the public construction companies. And that's why another thing to really consider here is that they're fitting this under the Public Construction Fairness Act, but it's not fairness to the public construction companies. It's fairness to the citizens, fairness to the taxpayers. That's something very important to keep in mind. And so with that, there's been one hearing. It hasn't been passed on to the second legislative body yet, but assuming that it does, I would just ask the board to allow me to go ahead and then one, submit testimony, and two, probably allow myself to speak should they have a hearing. I would like to attend that. So if I get consensus from the board to go ahead and do so. Any questions, at least on that particular bill? No. All right. Let's see. The other bills, there's House Bill 2465, which it's prohibit governments from taking adverse actions against professionals or businesses based solely on their sincerely held religious beliefs or lawful expression of such beliefs in settings unrelated to their profession or business. It's an interesting bill. I think that's probably illegal already, or unconstitutional if a government did this. I'm not sure submitting testimony would be appropriate unless, of course, you guys have questions or would like me to do so. I just think it's additions that aren't necessary. Perhaps for political reasons, they're wanting to get this one through. But that's at least my analysis of those particular Senate bills. And so out of all the ones that I'm tracking, these are bills that are at least getting some recent attention. There's a lot of them, again, that are just sitting that have been introduced, but nothing's been done. And so until they start getting a little bit more traction or set for hearing, I'm not going to spend too much time. Unless, of course, if you guys have a particular bill that you're watching that you would like me to have some extra time spent on, I'm more than happy to do so. Just let me know what that is. John, you have one?
But I don't have the number in front of me, sorry.
Besides that one about doing away with property taxes and adding sales tax.
Yeah.
It's an earnings tax.
Yeah, again, I think that's one that
The earnings tax is interesting. It's not for people, it's anyone from outside the county that works in our county. You can charge a 1% earnings tax.
I've heard something about a consumption tax too.
I've heard of that too.
That's one thing. No, the other one is a consumption tax instead of property tax that you, but it amounts to, we're calling it, what's adding to the sales tax, which is already.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a sales
It's
tax.
adding, which I'm wondering, what's that gonna do to Johnson County?
right.
It's gonna drive across state line if they're 6 or 7% less on sales tax.
Very interesting. Yeah, it sounds like these are bills that probably have not, I mean, they've been introduced. I don't know. I doubt if any of these have had much hearing or had a hearing or at all. But
HB 2745. It's coming through house tax.
Okay. All right. Well, I will spend some time getting familiar with that and be sure to talk about it on the next administrative session. Just for what it's worth, I think I'll be spending probably most of my administrations just talking about, the legislative process and what's going on there. And that's the time that I'll probably use for it. As far as any other questions, I guess, as far as Senate bills, House bills, things of that nature, any points you would like me to go chase down?
I don't have them.
Okay. All right, well, I'll just move on very briefly to the staff update. Frankly, not a whole lot has changed. We stay pretty busy with just keeping out the small fires that come up, questions, of course, from all the department heads that arise. We're watching, of course, the First Christian Church RFP and assisting John with that as it goes. We have a couple we have one case ongoing that you guys are definitely aware of that's taking plenty of time. But as far as any particular projects go, things are going smoothly. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys would have. All right. So thank you for the time.
Yeah. Is it possible to get a paper copy of the W-2? Okay. I can't get on Paylocity to do it at all. Yeah. Gonna have to go in there and reset it or something. Just get a paper copy of it if you wouldn't mind.
Me too. I'll go further.
I already printed mine. And RCBD is switching over to Paylocity.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say, I mean, I hear your frustrations, but it is a lot of your. Maybe people see.
Yeah, I didn't have, yeah, no printed off my W-2.
I mean, it's a system.
I'm fine, they don't think. I'm not fine, but it was there.
And I'm sure for those of us that access regularly, it's that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, we've done it once or twice.
Yeah. When they talked to Jenny about giving that thing, but she said she contacted
Yes, yeah.
to see what your format is, so they can do that.
So I said, the budget, when else we said, the budget development sheet that we used, is a no, and talk last Sunday, that said we had to care about that.
Yeah, like I said, you know,
I saw some back to her.
and she said, she looked at it, said, oh, yeah, but that, you know, little extra work for her, but like I say, right now, we get 1 million payroll. Said, regular division, and how many, you know, you got how many major police sergeants, and whatever else you got, you know.
I told her I didn't want to sit there.
No, she, because that was, she said, after stuff, it's just, yeah. Because I do want, oh, I do. I mean, the both.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and it just, like I see, the people that's what he.
It's not. No, that's one of the situations.
Yes, they say, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I understand, yeah. And she didn't know me right after she was in that. So, yeah.
Because she said she was in contact, because I gave her just 1 page, gave her 1 page, said, this is the phone. I'd like to see.
Yeah.
She said, oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't.
And the other stuff, I said, you know, we have all our stuff is quiet, I know. But it's payroll, but, yeah, you guys, parole, investigations, corrections, dispatch, just administration, something else. Yes, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she did. We something to see this out.
I thought that was it, but it's been a lot of. What it looked like. Maybe.
Yes, yeah, it's all stuff. All part of those and stuff. Well, that works out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's too, because they're getting started well, some said they're starting on the budget.
I think it's 2745.
Because there's this from bars, they have to get theirs, then. That's. So. Aaron was someone. There's great people. She's. Yeah. But he said it's something, some. That. Well, except for the, you know, they didn't serve satellite survey, except for that. He said, except for that one. Prices go up. So. It's really good numbers. You know, we had. Budget benefits, and that's what somebody else. You know, so payroll, they don't hire well. So essentially, they have vacancies, so there's people vacancies. I take that. Same like you said, also fast. And this one guy says, so I guess they're not using information. Which is a, but.
And there's some.
This is it.
Once you age, yeah. This is that is your great. Cheap.
Yeah. It's so finally. One more joy. Yeah, I have to make this gym. Yeah, no, yeah, just so. Yeah. But. We're all speak. That's what I'm going to. Using this, we could remember I want to see. All right, I want to say, find that, people wonderful, NOS.
I know it, I haven't been that since, me too, I think Shell's.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, she's really great.
I found out, her husband's friends with my son.
Oh, it's probably nothing more.
Didn't know, I think, didn't know at the time, she said. Yeah. Hear you saying so, you know.
Very good.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Ellerman, Public Works, with my monthly update. Going through there. Not a whole lot on the first few projects. Window project is officially completed. Everything has been done. I think the last payments have been submitted. So we have nice windows now.
That's supposed to be done.
What's that?
When is the remodeling and everything supposed to be done?
We'll get to that. Don't get too far ahead of the bad news, I think. Yeah.
Ouch.
Judicial Services Study, meetings kick off tomorrow morning with Fentress and BBN with the department heads. I think they start at 8:30 up in one of the courtrooms to start the process, and then they'll go through each department, each division, and talk to the individuals and the departments in there and what they need and where they're going. And yeah, so that's getting a good start. It'll do tomorrow and Wednesday. They'll be going through all of them. So Health Department study, we selected Arch Images last week. They are working on getting us a contract together based on the scope of services we presented to them and what we talked about in the interview. So yeah, that's getting started here pretty soon. Airport Road Bridge materials went out to bid. You selected bids. However, Alvin left off a big piece of the steel board. He forgot to put in the piling in the bid, so he's got that out with the same vendor as what we've chosen. He'll get, I think that price quote and then price adjustment will come next week. It adds $34,000, about $34,000 to that bid or yeah. Don't know how he did it. He feels bad about it, but I should have made him stay and let him tell you what he did. All that long list of numbers you saw on the bid, and you can see copying them over to the bid sheet. You just missed one. So that come out. The steel come in. He's looking at maybe starting at in about 1st of March, if everything comes the way it's supposed to. Parks crew, we're a couple of weeks old now. Did the snow removal around the one weekend of the 23rd, 24th. Do equipment maintenance, work on landscape beds and mulching as the temperatures and weather holds out. Working on trees, removing trees and limbs off of trees in Fairmont Park. Operations crew, of course, the snow, they're out grading roads, and if you hear some concerns like Commissioner McKinley had, they're pulling the gravel up off the shoulders from plowing snow off and putting them back on the road. And so if you hear some of those complaints, that's what we're doing. Now's the time to do that too, while there's no grass out there. And it gives us less of a mess, and while we do it now instead of during the spring and summer. They took care of our other wood piles and burn piles at Winkler, in the Winkler yard. They did burn the trees and stuff that we had out at Bala when we did the cleanup. So I think most of everything we've done on the bottle, it should be pretty much completed. We spent about labor and materials and stuff for our crews was about $30,000 doing that cleanup work. There may be a little few minor things back up there to do, but not too much. One of the crews that are out trimming trees and cutting trees down on Anderson, Crooked Creek and Winkler Roads. They're doing some shoulder work. They installed a culvert out on Deep Creek. The bridge crew is doing their small structure repairs still and working up service requests so they can go back and work on them. We worked on the core engineer, the road in the core from to help the emergency services people get up to the fire station a little quicker than going through the Barnes Dyer road route. And then they're preparing for that bridge project on 52nd Street that'll happen starting Wednesday. The have positions open. A custodian we hired will start February 24th. He had some 2 weeks notice and some things he wanted to clean up before he started. Customer service rep, we're getting pretty good selection, or at least a lot of applications. We're picking a few of them out this week and set up interviews for next week. University Park Lagoon project. Bid out, we're just waiting for around April 1st start date as the time where they were going to start. Keatsy model, emergency management, interior's all been framed out, working on rough ends for electrical, plumbing, and HVAC systems all being roughed in. The storm shelter, I think, was poured last week, Friday. So that's moving right along. I still have a mid-June open move-in date, I think. Baker McMillan's still working with GIS remodel. I think we have about a couple more, another week or so of engineering stuff with HVAC and electrical stuff that before we start working on bid documents and putting that out to bid, it looks like maybe mid-March. CPE exterior, the vertical joints and the brickwork on that end have been completed. Pay app has been submitted, so we're finished with that. And hopefully keeps us waterproof for a while, for a long while. Alvin left earlier. I had to, why he did his public notice was because they were getting ready to start preparing to put the temporary chute in at the transfer station. And then Evan's got the stormwater management plan that I think he wants to come and review with you before he submits resolution for you to sign. Now, chamber remodel. This had some just disagreements or understanding about how that floor, it's not the same type of carpet as what we used everywhere else. This is a more of a recycled material, cardboards and plastics, has its own special way of special glues, special primers and stuff to put down. The installer that was to install it wanted to remove all of the old glue, the old tile, and everything existing in the floor that was there. We didn't think it was necessary. We don't think it's quite all necessary. So we had a second opinion come in. Paramount Carpet and Tile came in and looked at it and gave us an estimate on what they would do or charge for us to put the floor down. So he wants about 15,000 from Paramount, and the total original bid plus what they want to do different is, we're looking at a little about $20,000 total for the original installer. I'd like to talk to more the Paramount and maybe get them involved and work with the other carpet about Design Central bid us the carpet and the installation, and they sub out the installation. I'd like them to talk to him about removing the installation off of that quote that he gave us, and then transfer and work with Paramount directly to install that carpet that we have already. The carpet and a lot of the glue is already there. The other bad news about all that is neither one of them would have been done or could get to it again until maybe the 1st of March.
Oh, is the Paramount, what are they going to take out the original floor and the glue?
No, they will encapsulate all of that, put some primer down, and then lay the floor with the adhesive that
Why didn't
he nobody did until they pulled it up. Yeah, that was part of it. It was it was bid was the basic insulation. And that was in their bid, yes. I think with Paramount, it only cost us $4,000 or $5,000 more because of the extra work that they have to do and extra materials they have to put into it. That's the difference between Paramount's work and then the other installation company wanted a whole lot more labor intensive to take everything up and start all over. BHS is happy with the work. The Paramount put in the carpet and stuff at the EMS station and will at the emergency management station. BHS is happy with their work and been pretty reliable to work with. Yeah, I don't know who the other one is. I don't think anybody's worked with them before.
Well, they want to pull that out of the contract. Get us a change order.
I want to ask them to pull it out and give us a new quote without the installation. And then I've got a quote, we'll get a quote from the Paramount to do that installation, and we'll bring them back to you. Always something. I still try to keep it within the request for CIP amount. So far, if we get too carried away in the next with the installation, then we may not have, I don't have money left in that to do the window treatments if we want window treatments, but I'd either have to adjust that CIP or make a new one to do that, but I'm trying to do all this within and save us what we can. I didn't save us time, but I saved us some money. Maybe. So.
Yeah, probably do. You're there at night, they're gonna see right through. I do.
So. Yeah, I think you might, I need to get down there at night or sometime and put a light on to see how much you can see in.
You can see pretty good at them. Even the
tinting, yeah, with the lights on, I think you see pretty well inside. Yeah. And during the day, you would not, but at night you probably could. Yeah, Commissioner Focus is pretty low. Yours are high. You go sit in your office and watch them in the alley on Friday, Saturday night. No, they won't see me in the alley.
When can we reasonably expect to be back in the space, just so we can properly notice meetings?
Because I'm already failed that twice.
Should we plan to be here for March?
I would say at least March. I'm hoping to get in mid-March. And in about, I think he said 7 to 10 days, 5 to 7 days to lay the carpet. Paramount did. The other one wanted, well, and that still has to happen yet too. I think it's probably waiting for us. I'm worried about the carpet. I didn't really ask about the furniture yet, but I think it was due to be here in the next week or so. So it's gonna have to go to his warehouse or something before it gets delivered. Well, his company that they ordered from.
No. Well, what it is. Yeah.
I almost had Evan do it for me.
Yeah. 2 items, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ready for the executive session, commissioners?
I'm going to move the county commissioners, including Chairwoman Foki, Vice Chairman Ford, and Commissioner McKinley with Jacob Hansen, County Counselor, and Michael Hawthorne, Assistant County Counselor, attorneys for the commission, recess into executive session for legal consultation regarding pending litigation, exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting to resume in the commission chamber at 10:35 a.m.
Very good. It's 5 minutes. That's 10.
10.
Oh, 9, that's 5, they're slow. I'm gonna ask. Okay. Yeah, we're at like listening now, but we can move quick. Okay. 10:35. Second.
Has been moved and seconded that, Board of County Commissioners, recess into executive session for reason previously stated for the term consultation exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act.
Commissioners, the meeting is live.
Okay, I'll make a motion that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
A second.
Both of them, the executive session, you can't bring it. Okay.
I'll also move that the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded that the revenue for the tax refund be paid is consistent with the consensus reached in the executive session. Okay.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. Catherine Hensler, Director of the Riley County Historical Museum. I'm just coming to you today with our staff update. So jumping right into visitation and tours. You can see we're following the same suit in 2026 as we did previously with the same charts on how we're reporting statistics. So gives us a look back at the last 3 months plus a year ago. So we can really start to gauge just kind of what the trends are and how things are running typically with numbers and statistics. So in January of this year, we had 112 people visit the museum, 23 visit the Goodnow House, 34 at the Wolf House, none at the Log Cabin since we are closed for the season there, and then 38 with our programs and outreach. I will mention, excuse me, that January and February are our quietest months. So we do usually see a dip in visitation through those deep winter months. However, you'll remember last year, our numbers are additionally low in January of 2025 because we were closed to the public that month because we were installing all new permanent exhibits. So while these lower numbers are not atypical, we are excited. Generally, March is when the visitation picks up. So the warmer weather and classes start getting out and coming for field trips. As far as volunteer hours, we're also a little bit lower than our last few months with 138 and a half hours. So those hours are accumulated by just our general, regular, everyday volunteers, as well as our interns, our Historical Society Board of Directors, and our community service workers. And you will see we have been really low on our community service workers. Normally, if we start looking back at some other months and other statistics, we generally have some more help there. So I guess the good thing is everybody's staying out of trouble, but we really do miss them. They're a huge help for us. They help us keep the site looking nice and tidy and just help us out with general everyday tasks. While I'm talking about volunteers, this did not get submitted on my report because it's something that came in after my submission. But I wanted to recognize one of our volunteers. Her name is Sherry Hooper. She's been volunteering with the museum for about 3.5 years. And we were just notified last week that she was awarded the Volunteer of the Year through the Freedom's Frontier National Heritage Area. We had submitted her name last fall and really didn't hear anything to follow up. So we didn't really know where that nomination was, but it just showed up last week. And I'd like to thank her for her service to the organization. She comes in every Thursday and helps us for about 4 hours. She rarely misses a date, and she is just a huge help. And she is a ray of sunshine. She's incredibly kind, friendly, and welcoming. So she's a wonderful representative of our organization and our mission. Jumping into education and outreach, we were a little calmer in January than what we are most months with our educational programs. January and February are also a couple months that we try to dedicate our time to planning for the upcoming year. So we try not to host or schedule too many programs during that time. But in January 20th, we did a presentation for the Kiwanis Club. And on January 31st, we partnered with the Riley County Historical Society to host a Celebrate Kansas, which was a Kansas Day program at the Wolf House. a couple other things. These aren't actual scheduled programs, but to give you an idea of what we're doing during this downtime, Curator Highsmith has begun scheduling the fourth grade field trips for the Wolf House, and those occur in April and May. Right now, the way she starts is she gets the sign-up sheets out to the education system. So right now, the teachers have been made aware of the time slots, and last I talked with her, about 95% of those time slots have been filled already. So we already know we've got a busy spring coming up. Once we have a number of students, then we'll start recruiting our volunteers. And usually we bring in about 33 to 35 volunteers to make that program happen all spring. Last year we had 681 students and chaperones that came through our field trip programs. The majority of those were in the spring with the Wolf House. Also, just of note, Curator Highsmith and myself are both serving on the local America 250 committee, along with 3 of our Historical Society board members. We are working right now on setting special events on that calendar. What I can't report are dates currently, just because those haven't been set, but I can tell you that our team has been working specifically on a history scavenger hunt, a time capsule program, a historic homes tour, and a Chautauqua series. So those will all take place through the duration of 2026. The majority of the work that we're probably going to be doing will be towards the later summer into fall. Also, marketing will begin being distributed shortly to the local news once dates are set. But I will say we've got a wonderful committee that's working on this project. There's about, initially I thought there were about 30 people. I went back and looked. There's 54 individuals serving on this committee from about 30 different organizations through both Manhattan and Riley County. So we're really excited to very soon be able to launch some of those activities and dates. There's also a state mascot for America 250. It is called Semi Quinn, and it's a little stuffed bison that wears a bandana. We'll be utilizing this marketing tool to highlight some of the important dates and programs that are going to be associated throughout the year, associated with America 250. So keep an eye out for that. We also are probably going to toss in like a little contest or a find Semi Quinn to get people engaged in some of these programs. And if they come out to them, they'll be able to spot this cute little stuffed bison and, just marketing techniques. So keep an eye out for Semi Quinn. I also want to let you know that our education team has chosen to discontinue the fireside chats for 2026. And the reason for this is the last 6 months of those programs in 2025, we had considerably low attendance. We really enjoy the programs. It's been a great partnership program with Flight Crew Coffee. However, we've decided with America 250 celebration, that's going to require a lot of our time and effort. We're going to put our time and effort towards that program. Doesn't mean we won't bring fireside chats back in the future, but we need to revisit them a little bit before we launch into another season. We're also hoping to take history on the road this year. So instead of asking everybody to come to us in Manhattan, we're going to go out to some of these smaller communities and bring programming to them. We had great success. I don't even think it was last year. It ended up being the year before in Keats. We did a collaborative program with the Keats community, and 101 people came out to that program. So we are going to be reaching out to communities versus just hosting here in Manhattan. And we're hoping that'll encourage attendance and participation. So moving into collections, excuse me. Our museum assistants, Brantley Schiermeyer and Eric Gudenkoff, have been supporting Curator Munger by processing the Blaker photography collection. You may be aware that we accepted that donation. It was a massive donation around the time of about 2012 to 2014. And Blaker, of course, is a very prominent photographer here in Manhattan and Riley County. And when he closed his practice or his business, he donated all of the negatives to our museum. So we did not have space in museum storage, as you know well about. So the Historical Society went and got an offsite storage unit for this, which is costing them $362 a month. They have been paying that since about 2012. It is our mission this year as we're cleaning up spaces to get everything out of that storage unit and moved and processed. Now, because they're negatives, they are deteriorating. It's not something, they're not something we can really store long-term or indefinitely. So our goal is to catalog everything, digitize everything, and then make that available on our new online photo platform. So hopefully we end up getting many birds with one stone with this project, while also creating a new resource for our community. So those museum assistants have been working. It's now been about 5 or 6 months that they've been working on this project, and we hope to start bringing the negatives over on site, small sections at a time, a couple boxes at a time, so we can process them and then get those available. When we were looking at collections intake or processing for January of 2026, we had 5 individual donations come in, and of those 5 donations, there were 143 objects. We were also able to process 6 additional objects and no deaccessions to report in January. I keep promising we're going to get that big number of the books. We are still waiting for it. It's a process that we have to follow with paperwork and signatures from the collections committee, but also from the full Historical Society board. So once we have those, I will be bringing it to you, but we're going to see numbers. I think it's close to about 4,000 objects that we're going to be deaccessioning in that one large deaccession. Archives and library, we were pretty busy in January. You can see that we had a total of 22 requests, 6 of them research from external sources, 10 in-person appointments, and 6 photo permission requests. So that has certainly been keeping Curator Ferens and her team busy. I have nothing to report on buildings and grounds, which is great. It seems that we have found a solution for that leak, and we've been A-okay for about 5 weeks. So we do keep an eye on it. Our staff is monitoring it at least once a day just to make sure there's no residual issues. But so far, we're moving in the right direction. I also have nothing to report on the museum staffing. However, moving into the Riley County Historical Society, I will start with staffing. And I would like to kind of informally announced that the board has selected somebody who they wish to hire for that society administrator position. While they have not formally announced it, and I'll let them be the first ones to do that, it does look like we are going to be able to bring somebody on, which is great news because that will also mean I can serve more of an advisory role for the board rather than a facilitator as I've been doing. So very happy about that. I will report more, and at the next meeting, I am sure I will have a name to share with you. Exterior restoration work is being conducted at the Wolf Photography Studio now, and also on the Wolf House Museum porch. So there are some significant preservation projects actively taking place at that site. I will also note that the Society nominated a new preservation chair, and that whole committee is becoming much more active. So that particular committee covers all of their historic properties. And then, as you know, but just a reminder, any of the historic society properties, any work that's going on, that is strictly 100% funded by the society. That's not something that the county is incurring any costs on. A new stone post is being added to, a new stone post fence is being added to the Rocky Ford Schoolhouse site. At this time, it is partially installed, but when the weather improves, maybe this week even, they'll be able to complete that fence. They've also had their sign rebuilt at the site, and new posts were installed and set in concrete. They kept the same sign, but the posts a few years ago were really significantly weakened during a severe windstorm. It's now been restabilized, it's straight again, it's sturdy, and we can go on marketing that site. Upcoming events. We really don't have much. Like I said, February is generally a month where we spend our time planning and getting ready for the year. But on February 12th, we will be doing a Drinks and Thanks, Tales of Love and Loss in Riley County. That's a partnership program with Arrow Cocktail Lounge. We did a program with them back in October and we packed the house. There were about 50, I think 54 attendees. And back at that first event, we didn't do a reservation system, so everybody just showed up and crowded the place. They are doing a reservation system with this event, and currently they're basically sold out. So I'd love to heavily promote this. You're welcome to show up and see if we can get you seats, but they did say they're starting a wait list, which is great for us to know that we've got that kind of interest. But it is a little unfortunate when we do these free programs. We want to try and make sure everybody is able to get to them. But it should be a good program on Thursday night. And then just a reminder, which you of course know, is the museum will be closed for President's Day on the 16th. And that is all I've got. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you so much for your time. Have a great day. Thanks, you too.
You have another question for you. Not related to this, but
Okay. Do you want this now?
yeah, wait till the meeting's done.
Does anyone have anything else?
I don't. No. Yeah, well, I'll go ahead then and make a motion that we adjourn the February 9th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn the February, 9th meeting of the Riley County Commission. Okay.